Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And it's time for our weekly track roundup, my thoughts, my opinions, my feelings on a bunch of tracks that have dropped over the past week or so, whether I loved them or hated them or felt somewhere in between. They are all linked down below so you could check them out for yourself. We have quite a few tracks to talk about in this episode of the show, so let's get into it without any further ado. Also down there in the description box is our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from it if you're looking to buy some turntable stuff, some vinyl, some whatever helps out the show. That would be great. Also down there is our Patreon page. Awesome extra bonus monthly content that supports us in the process. Would appreciate you linking up over there too. Access to our Discord community as well. Check it out. Mwah. All right. Following that, our shorts page on YouTube is doing pretty well too. And, we just hit 100,000 subscribers over there. It's doing great. It's doing cool. Would love for you to follow us there as well. And I think that's it. Let's get into the worst tracks of the week. We have a handful of those, starting with Boom, a new one from Post Malone, Overdrive, latest taste of, the new record, Austin. Pretty sleepy, forgettable, bland track that doesn't have a lot of substance behind it. Sort of unfortunate to hear as Post Malone is embracing this more kind of like singer-songwriter style. There's not a whole lot of sound or flavor kind of popping up on these tracks. Just sounds very sleepy, washed out. Background music. I think, that beer bongs and Bentley's era is just not going to get topped, is it? If that is the case, I'll be quite sad about it, but whatever. All right, moving on from there, we have a new one from Lil Nar, Young Nudie, and Chief Keef, PB&J. Really odd cross-section of guys on this track, but for whatever reason, despite everybody kind of coming from a very different vibe and very different place, it's not kind of the fireworks or the oddity that you would hope for it to be, again, because it's very, very weird to see these three kind of crossing over on a single song, and yet it's not explosive or interesting. Unfortunate. We also have a new one from Jacob Collier. Well, is the title of it, and it's just like a really basic pop song that is over arranged to the point where it is obnoxious and really grating to listen to, and I will leave it there. All right, the tracks that I was not crazy about but still wanted to shout out. You might like them more than me. They are as follows. We have a new one from Underscores over here. While I have been enjoying some of the new Underscores material since, this new album cycle has started, I'm not really crazy about this new cut over here. It's kind of like a bedroom lo-fi singer-songwriter experiment with like a lot of vocal snippets, spoken snippets kind of playing in the background over and over and over and over. The tune on top of it isn't bad, but it just feels like really disruptive and it makes it harder to kind of get into the song, as much as I do kind of appreciate the experimentation. We do also have a new one from Timber, who we haven't heard from in a minute. Last record dropped in 2017. I imagine this new song is our first taste of the next album cycle. I do like, kind of the low-key, eerie vocals, the, kind of washed out, somewhat folksy instrumentation. The song itself does come off a little repetitive, which I think is sort of the letdown of the whole thing, but it is cool to hear Timber sounding like Timber after a kind of rough one with the last record, that's for sure. The song's all right. It's decent. All right, moving on from there. Sprain, a band that I have been kind of keeping tabs on since I heard their last single and heard that this new album, there's going to be like, a giant 90-minute monster. But the next track we have a taste of here is just 5 minutes and change, Privilege of Being. I'm not crazy about this as a single, but I could see it being a cool little, mid-album breather, that sort of thing, because it is so low key and there are some very eerie string sections that pop up toward the back end. Given how massive and long this record is going to be, I'm kind of curious what the bigger tracks are going to sound like is really kind of the biggest question in my head. So I don't know. Looking forward to hearing this whole thing once it totally unfolds. All right, we have a new one from Quavo, feature on the track as well. Turn your click up. It's decent. It's all right. It's kind of just some sleepy trap stuff. Nothing too crazy for either of these guys. Just kind of very painting by the numbers, I guess. We have a new track as well from Pink Pantheress. Destroy Lonely on the song as well. Turn your phone off. It just kind of sounds like a pretty good Pink Pantheress song with a forgettable Destroy Lonely featured in the middle of it. That's pretty much what it sounds like. If you love Pink Pantheress's, very gentle kind of, dance pop sound, the break beats, that sort of thing, you'll dig on it. But, don't expect the Lonely feature to really do too much for you. All right, moving on from there, Ken Mode, another taste of their next full-length album. He was a good man. He was a taxpayer. It is one of their more versatile and dynamic singles in a while. But I'll say the low-key moments didn't really do too much for me, other than, just to make the heavier spots sound even bigger than they are. Moving on from there, Incantation, classic death metal outfit. Incantation, they're back, new album on the way. Concordat, the Pact 1 is the title of this track. It's grimy. It's nasty. It's quite dark, not overproduced or anything like that. It's got that, old school death metal sound to it. But, it's not quite hitting as maybe it once did back in the day, because it sort of seems like, they're retreading a little bit, just kind of swimming in very familiar waters. But if you're a death metal purist, I could see this track rocking you for sure. The guitar work isn't anything mind-blowing or anything like that, but, again, pretty standard, solid death metal cut over here. And for sure, the record's probably going to be pretty solid as well. We have a new one from Hannah Diamond over here. I could see this track really popping off, like when PC Music first hit, but at this point, it just kind of feels like, not necessarily like super mind-blowing as far as like kind of a throwback Y2K pop jam goes. Affirmations is the title of it. It's not too bad. It's just kind of to be expected, I suppose. All right, we also have a new one from Forest Swords, electronic and ambient music artist Forest Swords. I'm liking the vocal samples on this one, liking the melodramatic atmosphere. I feel like the track could have developed a little bit more, but, Butterfly Effect is the title of it, by the way. But still, the vibe is definitely there, and I can see this track, maybe growing on me in the context of a bunch of other songs that kind of, reinforce each other in terms of like energy or aura, that sort of thing. We have a new one over here from Dying Fetus. Make Them Beg for Death is the title of the next record that is on the way. And like any good Dying Fetus song, it's loaded with killer, crushing, mosh-friendly, and headbang-friendly riffs that have a nice little thrash edge to them, but some, really hard and technical spots as well. The track ends, I think, a lot stronger than it starts, but I found a lot of the lyrics on the cut to be kind of cringy and dealing in like, hashtags, we don't like social media, cancel culture. It kind of gave off those vibes. It was a bit odd for them to focus on such a thing, but whatever. It is what it is. The riffs rule. All right, we have a new one from Cryptopsy. We got a lot of death metal records to talk about this week, guys. I feel like the drums are a little bit too regimented on this first teaser to their next record, but I suppose the vocals and guitars certainly do go. I just wish it didn't feel so clean and regimented, I suppose. All right, moving on from there, Claud has come through with a new and interesting single and music video. Paul Rudd is featured in the whole thing. I mean, aesthetically, this is kind of your standard indie pop rock affair with like really bright, thick guitar choruses, that sort of thing. Nothing too mind-blowing for this style, but, the tune is there. And again, I feel like the whole thing is definitely worth checking out for the music video with, the fun Paul Rudd cameo and the whole sweater concept, which I thought was, pretty cool inclusion. Good Thing is the title of the track. Let's move on to the best tracks of the week. We have a handful of those. We have a new one from Yeule over here. This latest taste of their forthcoming album is really poppy. It's shoegazy. It's thick and quite blissful. Dazies is the title of it. We have a new one from Yard Act over here. It's like this 8-minute dancey post-punk monster that has kind of these twangy little cake-esque guitar riffs all over it. The tune is solid as well, like those spoken word vocals. I feel like it's a nice, fun little extension of a track, which again, 8 minutes, a lot of grooves to be had on this thing from front to back. We have a new one from freaking Troye Sivan over here. This track is The Gay Agenda. Bring it on. That's all I got to say. Rush is the title of it. Awesome gang choruses, endless grooves, really solid pop leads, and yeah, production is nice all around as well. Liking this a lot. Awesome. It rules. Liking this new track from Spelling over here, or at least a couple. This new Spelling and the Mystery School record, which will be on the way this year, sees the project kind of revising a bunch of older material, both recent and not so recent. Not just, tracks from Turning Wheel, like Boys of School, but also this, classic, minor hit in the Spelling catalog, Under the Sun, or Under the Sun, the revision of which is done with, fuller and more dynamic instrumentation in this instance, and I'm absolutely loving it. There's another teaser on the record as well that I'm not so crazy about, but it's really exciting to, sort of hear this older material redone in an interesting way. Cool, way to sort of extend the world of your music, I suppose. We have a track from what is supposed to be a posthumous album from Sparklehorse. This new single as well has Jason Little of Weaker Than's fame, on some background harmony duty. But it's a very folky, low-key, skeletal, kind of, melodramatic and heartbreaking little tune. Liking it a lot. Really great dark vibe to it. And, interested to see if the other tracks on this forthcoming album kind of reinforce the same energy. Also have a track from a band I'm just now hearing of with this song. It's titled Running. The band is Snōōper. And man, this is some good, sick post-punk with some kind of crispy production, very energetic performance behind it as well. Liking it a lot. This is a sick track. Following this, we have a new track over here as well from Petey, singer, songwriter, comedian, multimedia artist, so on and so forth. USA. The record is on the way very soon. I'll Wait is the title of the track. And it's, got some kind of classic, very energetic, very explosive classic, I've already said classic, indie rock vibes behind the whole thing. If you like your amped guitar rock, underground style, you'll dig on this. Try it out. Give it a listen. We have a new one from Alan Palomo of Neon Indian fame, who is now releasing music under his own name. And with this track over here, we have some Frenchy synth pop with a story of murder laced into the lyrics and the music video as well. It's kind of got those nostalgic, hypnagogic vibes as well. I'm liking it a lot. It's awesome. Pretty much every song we've heard so far from this upcoming album cycle from Alan has been fire. So, really looking forward to seeing how this all kind of plays out. We have a new one from Coco Jones with Justin Timberlake on the I See You remix. Really great vocal performances on this track from beginning to end. And, just great all around, and looking forward to, hopefully more music that Justin is included in that's actually kind of good. This is like the best thing Justin has touched in a while. So, just kind of making note of that. Thank you, Coco, for for hopefully getting Justin back on a better streak or something. Appreciate you. We have also a new one over here from Jamila Woods, Tiny Garden. It's a really kind of lovely song and music video about, kind of the functionality of a healthy and fostered love. And, grooves are great. Vocals are great. Lyrics are really thoughtful. Instrumentation is lovely. And, just looking forward to hearing more like this from Miss Woods. All right. Genesis Owusu. New record on the way. Second Taste from It. Tied Up is the title of the song. Really liking that he's exploring kind of, these hip hop and post punk and, weirdo rock vibes with some of this newest material. It's just sounding really freaking good. And, Genesis Owusu forever. Okay, tying things up, we have a few more. Miss Billie Eilish has come through with a new track for the Barbie soundtrack. What Was I Made For? It's a very breathy, low key, understated piano ballad with some painfully sad lyrics. And, I think it's a great performance. I think it's a good tune. I think it's a smart way to tie into the Barbie film. Given the theme of that movie, what the song says as well. It's a well-executed inclusion, I would say. And next, shout out to Baroness, who has a new record on the way. Beneath the Rose is the title of this track. And it's a cool little alt metal track with some heavy riffs and a lot of kind of shouted, gruff spoken word passages, really classic, epic, soaring Baroness vocal harmonies on the chorus as well. It's a very well put together song that seems, a little off the beaten path for Baroness. Kind of a surprise, but the stuff they do different on it is well executed. It's them switching things up and nailing it in the process. All right, and A Savage, or Andrew Savage of Parquet Courts fame, solo material. First taste of a new album cycle. Thanksgiving is the title of this track. And it's a really dramatic singer-songwriter song, some heartbreaking and artsy lyrics as well. Liking this one a lot. Andrew's soul material, I think, has been sounding better and better as he's been releasing more. And that is going to be it for this video. Weekly track roundup complete. Tracks recommended. Hopefully you liked what I threw you guys in this video. If you did, give us a like, and we will see you in the next one. You're the best. Love ya. Anthony Fantano. Weekly tracks forever.